Hello, my name is Francisco Joel Alvarez, and I'll be sharing insights into the newcomer's experience, exploring the impact of CBLI on language acquisition in a secondary ELLA classroom. A little bit about me. I am a native from Arecibo, Puerto Rico. I was a former newcomer at age 10. I migrated to Florida at this age. I have served in the Puerto Rico's governor's office as a community development organizer, and that was a very fulfilling role. I migrated to Florida after Hurricane Maria. It was a very challenging time for me and my family, but we were able to settle in Florida for a couple of years and then eventually decided to migrate to Dallas, Texas. I have served as an ESL educator in Puerto Rico in grades 11 and 12. I've also been an ESL teacher in the middle school in Puerto Rico. When I moved to Florida, I served as an ELA writing teacher in seventh grade. And when I migrated to Texas, I facilitated a role as an ESL teacher for newcomers. And then currently, I am serving as an ELLA teacher for newcomers. I have a combined experience of 17 years and I wish to specialize in the facilitating role of specializing in serving newcomers and long term EBs or multilingual, experienced multilingual learners. At heart, I am a lifelong learner, and this is what I instill in my students as well. The rationale behind this case study: we seek to examine the impact of content-based language instruction, or CBLI for short, helping students leverage the high academic vocabulary needed to be successful in the science content areas. As action research supports this, as it highlights teachers' ability to improve learner outcomes by using evidence and reflection. My goal is to support my secondary newcomer students in leveraging their complete language repertoire to be able to be successful in the science classroom. My worldview is social constructivism. I believe that students learn best when they are interacting and when they are exchanging. I seek to develop a nurturing, inviting, safe environment for them where they can feel motivated to use English in a low stakes environment. Action research supports this view as it allows teachers to use reflection, action, and collaboration. There's a quote from Dr. Brene Brown that I really enjoy, where she defines connection as the energy that exists between people when they feel seen, heard, and valued, when they can give and receive without judgment. And this is what I strive to do in my newcomer classroom every day. My research questions: how does content based language instruction, CBLI for short, influence language acquisition in my in my third period seventh grade ELLA classroom? What specific challenges do newcomer students face when learning grade level content in English? And how does the claim, evidence, and reasoning, or CER for short, strategy facilitate writing short constructed responses among students in this context? And the framework for all of these is collaboration. So I included this quote from Clark. Collaboration helps students use academic words and build confidence, and this has been my experience as well. So the CER writing strategy provides structure, academic discourse, and scaffolding, helping emergent bilingual students transition from social language or basic language into a more formal academic language. Especially in the science classroom, this is especially beneficial. And we have an example here of an anchor chart that we have created for our students to support them in internalizing the CER strategy. We also provide our students with sentence frames. The sentence frames, along with the science talk or the academic discourse opportunities, support our students in leveraging these high academic words and terms in a low stakes environment. It helps them internalize and be able to communicate and express these terms. Here is my literature review, and I have seek to look at a sample of different academic papers on both the topic of CBLI and CER, and especially on integrating science and language. As I look at integrating science and language instruction, what stands out is the idea that real lasting change happens when teachers see themselves as researchers in their own classrooms. Instead of applying different pre made solutions or options, I seek to help teachers reflect on the data and adapt to the challenges that their students are facing. CBLI and the CER strategies are approaches that I utilize on a daily basis to help students understand the high academic vocabulary in subjects like science, while also building language skills, which is especially important for newcomer students. I believe that effective instruction lies in utilizing scaffolds like visuals and models and structured sentence frames to make thinking visible and accessible for our newcomer students. I also found in the literature review the support in utilizing collaboration strategies, helping our students leverage this high academic vocabulary in conversations, peer conversations, and small group conversations. This will ultimately empower our students because it will lift or boost their confidence in being able to utilize their full language repertoire to be able to explain science phenomena. These are some of the key takeaways from the literature review, and particularly the CER strategy gives students simple steps to build strong logical arguments, and this is sitting in Mobley 2023. Another key takeaway is the talk, then write. So we utilize different structures for academic discourse just to help students become familiar and utilize the academic vocabulary in a low stakes environment. Uh, this ultimately helps our students tackle the complexity of language, especially in writing, and do so in a way that helps them see themselves successfully being able to meet the expectations that we set forth for them. One key component, which I believe is a powerful tool, is leveraging students' heritage languages. By allowing students to mobilize their heritage language to brainstorm and help them make sense of the language that they are acquiring, it not only helps boost their confidence, but it also allows them to make those cross linguistic connections necessary for building biliteracy. Ultimately, all of these help build a sense of community and support with one another that is just an amazing byproduct of these supports that we're setting forth for them. The site of my research is RMS. This is a middle school with a population of around 515 students. We have 7th and 8th grade. 98% are considered minority. 87% are economically disadvantaged. And we have a population of about 52% Hispanic, 40% Black or African American. And our emergent bilingual population that we have identified receive ESL pullout is around 137 students. Out of these, I chose my third period seventh grade ELLA class, where I am serving 7 students, but my participant role, one of them transferred out, so I was left with 2 female students and 4 male students. And as you can see here in this quantile, these students, the convenience sample that I utilize is because they range from low, medium, and high in terms of their academic proficiency. So this fairly represents the target population, and I respected their participants' rights by not including their personal identifiable information. The timeline of my plan of project from the planning stage to the instrument design stage. Then I continued with the pretest. Then I provided instruction as part of these um, activities. I included lab activities, again, to provide students with opportunities to see the science come alive. And then we had a post test to measure student growth in the target areas. Oh, one thing that I wanted to mention about the project plan, is that due to testing and other components, my plan was extended, and this I feel had an impact on student performance, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. The methodology used in this qualitative case study is a combined methodology, mixed methods, allowing me to collect data through observations, artifacts, and reflections, as well as utilize quantitative data in the pre and post. And this allowed me to have triangulation and a comprehensive understanding throughout my case study. As a researcher participant, I facilitated and even documented throughout the whole process. I organized, coded, and categorized the data to identify emerging themes, and I employed strategies to check and enhance validity. I ensured student confidentiality and ethical integrity throughout the whole process. So we're not including any personal identifiable information in this presentation. So here's an example of my data collection instruments. My pre-post was done using quizzes. I developed or designed this informational article that has the components of an informational article, the informational text features. I also included questions with tying the TEKs, and we leveraged both the ELA TEKs and the science TEKs, and I collaborated with one of my colleagues for this. So we had students not only respond to questions, star questions, but they also perform word sorts and other type of activities to demonstrate their understanding and knowledge. One thing to note is that all of these um, items are grade level items that leverage students' language acquisition as well as their understanding of the science concepts. Moving on, this is my short constructed response as part of my pre and post test. And this is where students were able to utilize the CER strategy. And as you can see here by their responses, there was an overall improvement from the pre and post. The average pre-test accuracy was 53%, and the post-test accuracy improved to over 70%. This shows that students made substantial progress in their understanding of thermal energy concepts, and it's a clear indicator that the teaching strategies that we use were successful. As part of my facilitation process, I collected reflections, and during these process, I focus on instructional planning and students' actions observed. I also administered a student survey where they reflected on their experiences and assertions during this lesson cycle. It was noteworthy to see how students responded in this survey as they rated their understanding of the terminology, the science terms, and the majority of them found the CER strategy to be helpful. And I noticed that they also found the annotation strategies that we utilize with the supports to be also beneficial in them leveraging the high academic vocabulary in science. Here's a sample of a student's data collection instrument. We instructed them to take focalized notes as we were going through the lab activities. So the results of this case study in response to the research questions: how does content-based language instruction influence language acquisition in my third period seventh grade ELA classroom? Implementing this strategy has supported my students, especially those who have a challenge when leveraging the high academic science vocabulary by blending in the English instruction with the science. I noticed that there was a growth in their vocabulary use and it was meaningful to them. The experiments that we conducted was a real world application of the science terms, and the structured conversations also proved very beneficial in them feeling a sense of confidence in leveraging this high academic vocabulary. My research question number two: what specific challenges do newcomer students face when learning the grade level content in English? As you know, students, especially newcomers, struggle with the use of academic vocabulary. They feel overwhelmed when being overloaded with many different terms as they're trying to understand these complex structures. And writing in English, especially, can be very challenging for our newcomer students as they are still managing their social vocabulary, their interpersonal vocabulary, and then we're asking them to also demonstrate proficiency in the high academic vocabulary, which is shown to occur, after maybe 3, 4 years of exposure to the English language. There are also cultural and emotional barriers like fears of making mistakes or feeling isolated, which makes the internalization of academic vocabulary challenging. So we leverage all this in with our strategies and supports. Question number three: how does the claim evidence reasoning or CER strategy facilitate the writing of short constructed responses among students in this context? The CER strategy gave our students a clear structure and a way to organize their ideas, making the science feel more manageable and less stressful. These frames, they helped our students in identifying evidence and reasoning, not just making simple claims, but being able to overall explain the science phenomena. It ultimately boosts their confidence, and it helps them feel successful in leveraging these high academic situations. Some of the implications of this case study: a CBLI helps newcomers learn academic vocabulary by connecting science and English in real world experiments. The structure supports like sentence frames, visuals, and the use of the CER strategy proved to be very beneficial in helping them achieve this task, using their heritage language as a means for them to break down the high academic vocabulary and the concepts, increases their confidence, and encourages risk-taking. The ongoing feedback process and the modeling process, um, helping them see the language play out in real world scenarios, really supported them, and it helped them see the application of language as opposed to just the knowledge of science terms. And this is the end of my presentation. I hope that you find it beneficial. Please connect with me on social medias, particularly on Twitter X. You can tag me as your presenter, Mr. Alvarez Teacher, and you can use the hashtag newcomer research to help us see your posts and see your reactions. There is also a Padlet that I created that house all of the resources that I utilize, including the artifacts and instruments used in this qualitative case study. Feel free to access this Padlet to gain more insight into the newcomer's experience. Thank you all for your time.